Welcome back, friends, and today I'm reading Strange Things Are Happening in Creepers, Stage Fright by Edgar J. Hyde. Over 4 million copies sold worldwide. And this is book 2, and reading chapter 8, The Voice. Meanwhile, outside in the cemetery, Melissa and Joe, the real Melissa and Joe, had found the grave of Gwendolyn Summers. They had bumped into one another just outside the mausoleum, both having exhausted the graves in the parts of the cemetery they had explored. It was then that by chance they spotted a few graves tucked away in the corner just beside the entrance. Sure enough, there it was, clearly engraved with the author's name. Both girls bent down, wiping the rain out of their eyes. "Gwendolyn Summers," said Melissa. "We found you at last." She brushed her fingers over the lettering on the grave, taking in the woman's date of birth, and when she died, and thinking how plain and obstructive the lettering was in comparison to some of the other stones she had seen earlier. There was a vase of fairly fresh flowers placed at the foot of the grave, and Melissa wondered who had placed them there. "So you found me, girls," said a soft voice. Joe and Melissa looked quizzically at one another. "Who said that, Jenny?" Joe asked. The girls looked around. The howling of the wind and the steady beat of the rain as it splashed heavily onto the ground sounded in their ears. Melissa pushed back her hair from her face and smiled at Joe. "We're hearing things. The wind is playing tricks on us, that's all," she said. But then they heard the voice, still soft but a little clearer. "I've been waiting for you girls. I'm so glad you're here at last." The two girls stood up, almost falling backwards in their haste. "Where is it coming from?" asked Joe as she grabbed Melissa's arm. "I can hear a voice, but I can't see anyone." "Please don't be afraid, girls." The voice was stronger and more insistent now. "I really must speak with you. Please come closer to the stone. I need you both listen to me very carefully." Melissa and Joe looked at each other in bewilderment, but because they didn't know what else to do, they did as they were told and walked forward to kneel in front of the gravestone. As they knelt on a wet grass, there was an audible sigh of relief. "Thank you, girls. I'd hoped you'd be the ones to help. Please listen very carefully to what I have to say. I am the spirit of Gwendolyn Summers. I no longer have the power to materialize. My spirit has been growing weaker over the years, and I am afraid that you will be unable to see me. You can, however, hear my voice, and hopefully once I have told you my story, you will be able to help me." The rain was beating down onto their bent forms, and the sky was almost completely black. Melissa and Joe were afraid. They were no longer wanted to be in the graveyard. They wanted to forget the whole idea of finding the author's grave, and forget the entire play for that matter. Before either of the girls could move, the voice spoke again. "The play, O spirits, obey us. You must know that I was the person responsible for writing it. God help me. I know that you two and your friend are playing the parts of the three witches, and that is why I must speak to you. You see, although the play was written decades ago, it has never been performed on stage. There's always a series of accidents that befalls anyone who tries to help me, stop the evil witches from carrying out their plan. Anyone who has played the parts of the witches up until now has been very happy to have all their wishes come true, and has been disinterested in helping me break the real witches' evil hold. So when I knew you girls weren't happy with the recent events, well, it was only like a breath of fresh air." The voice paused briefly. "It's all my fault," she began. "I wrote the words to the play, and unwillingly or not, I conjured up those evil sinisters. Because of this, I will have to be the one to cast them back into the darkness, where they belong. Of course I can't do it myself, so I have to put myself at your mercy, and ask, no plead, for your help." "But what can we do?" Melissa asked. "The witches can't be real, surely." She looked at Joe. Joe didn't reply, but the look on her face said more than the words ever could. "Yeah, I know." Melissa nodded wearily. "I'm talking to a gravestone. How real can things get?" The voice started again. "We don't have a lot of time, girls. Please, hear what I have to say. In the past, the girls who played the parts of the witches have seemed to actually take on their characters, as well as the parts they they are playing. De- Decent, well-mannered girls have been turned into nasty, evil people who become accustomed to having their wishes come true. In the course of the rehearsals, anyone who is seen to oppose these girls had a tragic accident. Look back at the school records. You'll see that I'm telling the truth. If, however, the play ever does have an opening night, it must not be performed the way it was written. If it is, everyone who is in the audience will become spellbound. What you must try to do is change some parts of the play. It will break the spell and send the evil witches back to the depths. By doing so, you will also manage to free my trapped spirit. I can have no rest while the three witches are allowed to carry on their evil work. Melissa wiped some rain from her face and sat back on her heels. I know this is quite a bit of information for you young girls to take in, and I know how unbelievable this whole story must seem to you. But I'm begging you both, will you help me? Before the girls could arrive, they heard a loud scream coming from the direction of the mausoleum. Simultaneously, they jumped quickly to their feet and shouted, "Jenny!" That's the end of chapter 8. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on our social media, Funkyplaybrothers, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Thank you for watching. Bye!